Welcome to the first Tuesday Talk of 2019. I'm so excited to get together and share another day and another year with all of you as we join together and lead children into being lifelong disciples with Christ. I think that 2019 has a lot in store for us, a lot of exciting changes and additions, and I'm just really looking forward to everything that God has in store for us. And I'm just praying abundant blessings on the ministry here at New Stanton Church and on all of you as leaders and on everything you have going on in your everyday lives. I know that your life goes way beyond Sunday morning, and I just pray that if there's ever anything going on that you'd like me to join you in prayer, please reach out, text me, call me, flag me down on a Sunday morning and let me know so that I can be in prayer with you and just kind of walk with you through whatever might be going on in the lives of you, your family, your children, whoever. I would love to join in with you Monday through Saturday, not just on Sunday as well. But today I wanted to focus on light. I heard a quote the other day that said, "Pay attention to the cracks because that's where the light gets in." And the quote was from the perspective of, like, if you build something, say a wall or a roof, if you see light, that means that there's cracks, and those cracks are a bad thing. So in the context of this quote, they were implying that light was something you did not want to see. But when I saw it, I thought, wait a second. Light is something that we do want to see. It just depends on the context. And in the context of church and the Christian walk, in our terms, light is Christ, because the Bible mentions light a whole lot. I actually Googled it. And the word light shows up in the NIV translation 232 times. That's a lot of times for one word and one concept to be mentioned. And I think it's important to recognize that that's because light is typically synonymous with God or Jesus, and it's synonymous with what we should be striving toward in our walk with Christ. In 1 John, it actually says that God is light and we should walk in the light. So when we see the light through the cracks, that's us seeing God, and we should capture that light and walk with it, because it's important for us to be walking with Christ in our lives, because if we're not, then we're in darkness. Because actually, if you look up the definition of light, light actually involves removing darkness. So that tells me that darkness is there first. And if we go back to Genesis, we know that, in the beginning, it was dark. There was nothing. And so God incorporated the light. So if we are not walking in the light, then we're left with the darkness. And as leaders in children's ministry, we need to be showing what walking in the light means in our daily lives, because we have a bunch of little children and little eyes looking at us and seeing how we, as people who are believers in Jesus, and we want to tell them to do the same thing that we're doing. We want to tell them, believe in God, believe in Jesus, and live with him in heaven. Join us in heaven someday. So we need to make sure that in our everyday lives, we're walking in the light. So to take that quote from the beginning, that if you see the cracks, that's where the light is getting in, I'm viewing it more from, if there's cracks and the light is starting to trickle in, how can we open up those cracks to really let the light shine through? So instead of patching up the cracks and hiding the light, how can we open them up and shine the light even brighter? This week in our home, our TV is dying a slow death. And it started doing some weird things, and it'll randomly shut off and it won't turn back on for sometimes like a whole day. Now, some of you may not watch a whole lot of TV, so that may not seem like a big deal, but I will be perfectly honest. My family watches probably way more television than we should. One of my favorite mind-numbing hobbies is to binge watch reality television. That's just a deep, dark secret of mine. So to lose the television would be a sad occasion. My husband is a huge sports fan. Now, luckily, the Steelers, aren't playing anymore, so he could survive for a few months. But long story short, the TV is important to our lives, more important than it should be. And that was kind of brought to my attention when the TV went black for the first time, because our initial reaction is, oh, what are we going to do? This is terrible. And then as I thought about it and I looked at that darkness and I looked at that blank screen, I thought, is this when the light needs to shine through and remove that darkness? And not in the context of buying a new TV and turning the light on that way, but is this a moment when I should see that the TV going dark is an opportunity for me to open that crack and to let the light in, spend more time reading my Bible, or spend more time listening to podcasts and sermons and filling my light with life instead of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, for example. And I know that seems silly maybe, but it really was an eye-opener to me that maybe there are moments in my life that I'm filling with something that doesn't necessarily need to be there, and that there's a better alternative to kind of remove the darkness with a brighter and a better light. So I'm going to challenge all of you to kind of look around your daily lives, maybe even look at your ministry position, and are there places where there's cracks and the light is starting to come through that you could pull it apart and let the light really shine and just remove any darkness that might be there. Now, it might be something a little silly, like maybe television, or it could be something a little bit more serious. But I'm going to challenge you to really dig in and look around at your life, the life of your family, and just see where God might be leading you to let some more light shine.